Hello there. Well, I don't like that expression they have among Benzo people of windows and waves. I suppose I should point my face towards the microphone so that you can hear all the rich timbre of my mellifluous baritone. Maybe tilt this over a little bit. But anyways, I don't like that expression. Um, Windows and waves. I don't know why I don't like it, but I don't like it. I guess I think waves are the bad times. I think this is a wave that I'm going through right now. So I had made a video earlier and uploaded it, and then was just watching it to see. I always watch first before I put the thing on to make sure I don't say anything too revealing and stupid to put on the internet. Though I don't always succeed at being a good self-editor, but we already know that. And I fell asleep, and I got woke up by a phone call, and I'm like, why am I sleeping? I was like, I didn't really do anything today, except for a walk on a treadmill for a little while, not very long at all. Because, yeah, well, I have a couple things to report. Just, I always start out slow, which is my nature, to start out slow. But, I think in the last video I made with the Chief Wahoo symbol, which I guess earned me a few negatives or whatever, because, caricatures of people uh, not considered good these days. So, Chief Wahoo is a thing of the past, and Brownie the Elf is a thing of the past. The thing about Brownie the Elf, which they're doing away with this year, and that's the Browns mascot, is um is the brownies offended because they're fairies? Are the elves offended? Is that like homophobia from the elf community? Or are the brownies offended at being compared to the cis male elves? I don't really know. But they're doing away with Brownie the elf. I don't know why. But it's kind of funny, the collectible market for like that pin that I got. Uh, Not in my lifetime, but that might be worth a lot of money someday, just because of the way people are. And there's already people thinking along those lines with the Chief Wahoo stuff. Um, if you look on eBay, you'll see that. Um, anyways, I told you that I went to my doctor's appointment in the Chief Wahoo um, video, and they hadn't set the appointment date. Well, they set the appointment date for the 7th. So, as I was starting to say earlier today, I fell asleep for absolutely no reason, and woke up just miserable. And got this heating pad burning my chest right now and can't seem to get warm. And I did take my temperature. I don't have a fever according to that, so I don't know what this is about. This is maybe the benzo flu they talk about, where I had actual fever before when I felt like this, where I felt like I had the chills and stuff. This is just a bare heating pad on my chest, which you're not supposed to do, but I got that, and I got my heater turned on high, and I'm still just sitting there with goose pimples all over me. And I guess you'll get that. It's the 1st of March, and in 3 days it'll be 2 months off of Xanax. And I've been taking limited amounts of Valium, which, depending upon who you ask, there's a range of like 10 to 20 or 15 to 20 times weaker as far as Valium is as compared to Xanax. I just know they're not the same thing. I know that, to me anyway, that's, to me, not a substitute. So, I don't know how many people have to make videos like this, or how many people have to suffer before they figure out that these things are really bad for people long term. And You know, like I said in other videos, my doctor never even heard of Heather Ashton. I mean, she did her work back in the early '80s. Shouldn't the guy who was like handing out Xanax to somebody at least know the name Heather Ashton? You know, who sort of ran the first clinic for benzo detox and study. You know, it's almost 40 years ago. So yeah, I get to feel like this. I mean, I just hope it's a passing thing, and I feel all right tomorrow. I took a gabapentin and a Valium not too long ago. Hopefully, can go to sleep and sleep this off, whatever this is. But yeah, that's the news. I don't even know if I said the news is they're gonna do a procedure on my knee on March 7th in 6 days at Altman Hospital, and it's not what I wanted. Like I wanted something a little more invasive. You know, they're just gonna. I guess when I don't screw around when it comes to things. I make long videos, long speeches, long jokes, and I also seem to grow blue ribbon cysts in my knees. So they said that this was one of the largest ones they had seen, and that I got bad advice from my general practitioner about staying off of it. He said, that's why you're falling all over the place. We did a test on your leg, which is your good leg, and all that thickness in your leg and your lower calf, that's fatty. Most of that's fatty tissue. So that's why I'm falling all over the place, is because, again, me in the medical community is a bad marriage, and I got some bad advice. I did talk to one guy who said, well, you can walk on it if you want to. He did not encourage me to walk on it. But he was the same guy that said, well, we usually just leave those things alone unless they impair your mobility or your flexibility. And I got a cane beside me, and a thought ran through my head about cracking him in the head with the cane briefly due to my violent history. Or I shouldn't say, well, it's a violent kid. I shouldn't say violent history. I said just exposure to violence through the years. But it passed. Um, it's like this, why, you're an educated man. It's like, why would you say something so stupid? You know, you're sitting next to a cane talking about whether some, listening to somebody talk that's talking about how bad their leg hurts and how bad they can't bend their legs to put their pants. It takes them like a minute to put their freaking pants on because they can't bend their one leg, and you start talking about, you know, as long as it doesn't affect your flexibility and mobility. A lot of times I think these doctors, they're just like human beings. You know, they have days where they're just phoning it in, and if you're unlucky, you happen to be there on one of them days when they're phoning it in and they're not listening. But so the 7th, they're gonna stick a big needle in my knee and drain that and pump it full of cortisone and then wrap it up. And they said I can't drive myself, which was no problem at all since I don't know how to drive. And I don't know if that's because I'm going to be doped up, or they figure that that leg won't be operational or trustworthy to use in a car, which it is not trustworthy to use in a car as it is now. So it wasn't trustworthy 30 years ago before I even knew what a Baker cyst was. I didn't really know what a Baker cyst was until a year and a half ago to 2 years ago, because that's when they said I had one, and then they said we usually don't do anything for them. And now I go to an actual orthopedist. I go to an actual orthopedic guy that deals with it, and he's looking at me like, you got a bad thing. He's giving me that hangdog look like, this is not good. You know, you just get that expression. And I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try not to swear in this video. Could you imagine that? A whole video of me not swearing. Whew. I don't know if I already might have swore already. I don't know, but I'm going to try that just for defecations and giggles. But anyways, so that's news. Another piece of news I got is when I thought my bank account was being compromised. It's like, for whatever reason, all this, everything piled up, and all this stuff that I had bought, all the electronic checks went through on the same day, which made no sense at all. It's just, I mean, good Lord, I don't know how many checks went through. On the 25th, which is how I ended up with a negative balance. And, it's like I didn't understand that about electronic shopping, that you can buy something on the 25th. I was, why would they hold your electronic check for 5 days? I don't, you I consider the lesson learned. So I checked, today's the payday for me, so I checked my balance, and I'm like $91.99. It says at the, when I called it, they said they took off my balance today, and I'm like, well, they must have lied to me on the phone and socked me for a overdraft fee or something. I said maybe it's a combination of a Walmart purchase, because I got to feed the cats, and an overdraft fee. And it turns out that I've had a subscription to MLB TV for like 3 years, and it's one of them damn things where, where it's like automatic renewal. And like they do this stuff on purpose, of course, to screw you this way. But a lot of times they don't even give you an option. You have to just cancel. You have to write yourself a note and cancel. And if it's over a whole Major League Baseball season, which is counting spring training is like 7 months, I mean, and you got other things on your mind, like, I don't know, meth heads, machetes, crazy family, Benzo, withdrawal, and the rest of it, obviously you ain't gonna be thinking about any trivial nonsense like that. So my subscription renewal got put in my spam folder. So I actually paid for it for a couple years without using it, and I had no idea. And I don't know how I tracked it down today, but I tracked it down, and I found it in my spam folder. I just got in my head, like, I should check everything in my email, just to everything. So I went it's called promotions in Gmail, I guess, but I couldn't find the old spam filter from years ago, and so that explained that. I don't think my bank has penalized me for being a spendthrift, a bored spendthrift the last month. Hmm. Yeah, this is rough. This is rough. I just want to be unconscious. I did get a meal in me. Good. Went to the bathroom. Good. So I don't have to get up and do that. Got the cat outside. Good. Because I have one cat that I let inside. I have two cats that I feed. My one cat is, of course, missing, and will continue to be missing, I'm assuming, because I haven't seen him in forever. Which I knew that cat for like 6 years minimum. Um, he was a neighborhood cat that when I got a little black kitten that my sister foisted off upon me because, why, it's good for people to have a pet. And I was like, okay, at the time I was healthy and well, and she wasn't touched and whatnot. And so I was like, okay, and it was cute. I remember getting him in the box, and he wouldn't come out of the box. He just kind of like, I talked sweet to him, and he would actually hide his uh, eyes underneath his paws. And he was like a real timid. He's still like a timid around people, you know. But it was just endearing. Then I couldn't get him to come out of the box that he came in until I put food, of course, around the box, and then left him alone, and then came back, and pretty soon the food had diminished, and he was back in the box, and I just got him used to the idea. And then I remember when I let him outside for the first time, because I was going to teach him to jump in and out the window on the porch, because I wanted him to be an outside cat, because I really don't believe in indoor cats. As hard as the outside world can be on them, I just don't believe in indoor cats. I mean, unless they're declawed. If they're declawed and they're defenseless, This cat's not declawed, and I just think they're happier, and I think they're better off that way. So, anyways, though, the first time I got him to go outside and jump out the window, he jumped out the window and jumped immediately back in the house, and he had caught a leaf, and he was proud of himself that he caught a leaf, his little black kitten. And I was like, you killed the hell out that leaf. I don't know if hell is swearing, but I was like, man, you killed that leaf real good. And I patted him and stuff. And so while I was training him to jump in and out the window, this neighborhood cat, he started jumping in and out the window with him. You know, he's a much bigger cat. And I watched him, and I thought it was funny to watch him interact. And I figured, look how fat that cat is. Somebody's going to be taking real good care of that cat. I was like, I don't know why he's jumping in here. And then, 6, 7 years later, I was naming him and paying a vet bill for him and feeding him every day and putting up with him and cleaning up after his messes and stuff. And my name for him was OCD. I think he's a part of the past now. Or, like I said before, I can use an optimistic approach and think that somebody has him in the house right now and he ain't even thinking about me no more. But yeah, he was not a young cat, not an old cat. I would say he was more on the old than the young side, but I don't think he's anymore. Um, well, why am I talking about cats? I don't know, but yeah. Because I'm situated for the night if I can sleep. That's all I want to do. I don't feel good. I don't. I've got anxiety. I don't trust my heart. Got a heating pad burning the hell out my chest right now. Not much caring because I'm freezing. And yeah, and in 6 days I have to go through a procedure that I'm not really all that cool with because it's called a Baker's cyst, like with an apostrophe S. I'm assuming somebody named Baker discovered it or something. But it's between it's inside the joint of your knee, and um, yeah, it already burst once and then reformed and got larger. So they're just going to drain it, put cortisone in it, which I've had cortisone injected into it before. It burst before, so I feel like this is just stalling. They just don't want to do surgery on me. Maybe because of the CRPS. Maybe they're afraid of messing me up worse. Or maybe this is, will be like a routine where every few months I have to go through this. And I just feel better about that. Um, the good thing, on the good side, it's like once they take care of that, um, I will get some pain relief. And I will get an opportunity to see if I can walk. I'll get more flexibility because just from cortisone shots without it having drained, it takes the swelling down, which gives you more flexibility. So, I'm trying to be optimistic, but at the same time, I have to be realistic because when a guy like hands you an ace bandage while he's scheduling the procedure for you and says that, well, when the swelling reoccurs, he didn't even say if the swelling reoccurs, he said when the swelling reoccurs. A lot of people like to use either, like to wrap it up with an ace bandage to try to keep the swelling down, or use a knee brace. And I said I already got a knee brace, and it's like one of them sports neoprene ones with the hole for the kneecap. And I hate that thing. It's uncomfortable. Don't like it. Tried it a couple of times, but I'll do the ace bandage thing. But yeah, I'm low for. I've been, you know, they always say that sometimes, like before an illness comes on, you get something called a malaise. Like you just get this depressed, lazy type of feeling, which I've had for a few days, which I thought I had tracked to something else, which was a loved one situation, which you can't help people that don't want to help themselves. But I have a sort of a window, a special window into what this guy is setting himself up for. And, I'm an empathetic sort, so it kind of, it, it just, it's just kind of hard for me to sit back and watch somebody suffer. He's been suffering for years for no reason. And like I'm like your perfect object lesson about like don't be afraid to go to the doctor if you have a problem. Like my problem was started out with pains in my legs, which they say were growing pains, and I didn't know what other people's legs feel like, so I just took the words for it. Like everybody's legs have shooting hideous pains in them, because that's what they told me. And having uh, what word should I use this time? Having an interesting father kind of made me passive when I was young, and I just kind of went with the flow. It's safer that way when you're dealing with psychopaths. And um, as in the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, as Huckleberry Finn said about his father, it's like we're dealing with certain kinds of people. It's best to just give them their way. So you learn to be passive. And anyways, I started to have symptoms where I knew that this wasn't no growing pains, which I was having like trouble getting my urine started, and I was having more trouble with that. And then like even then is when I should have went to the doctor. And I don't know how long I held on like that, where I was like, this is not, I'm supposed to be peeing here, not standing here. I'm not. I'm 15 years old or however old. Why am I having trouble like I was a 81-year-old man? Don't make any sense. So I knew something was up then, but I was too afraid. And again, that shame thing, that's such a detrimental thing to people. I was ashamed of my pee-pee and did not want to go into the doctor and get my nethers explored. And many people die from shame. And so this person's got a living object lesson about what can happen to you if you let anxiety and shame and fear overrule your common sense and put off going to the doctor. Uh, the thing of it is like I know somebody in his exact same situation that put off getting something taken care of for 30 years, and I told him about it, and I was like, he didn't. Uh, I'm asking if he hears this. He hears this. It might be good for him to hear. But if he didn't go to the dentist for 30 years, and he was in a lot of pain and couldn't even eat, and now he's not in any pain. He's short a few teeth, but he's not in any pain anymore. And I said, you do know this kind of thing can kill you, right? Because he has an incredible tolerance for pain. Obviously, if you don't go to the dentist for 30 years. I'm talking about not this other example that I used, but the person that I'm worried about I was brooding on. And he's like, yeah, but everybody thinks that like that's the dude that didn't go to the dentist for 30 years. He's like a heavy smoker, and he's like, well, when it's my time, my time. People always think that way. They don't, go to nursing homes and see people all twisted up, or hospitals all twisted up with strokes and stuff like that. So people just have a funny way of lying to themselves about things like that. Like, they're going to just wink out, just have a nice polite heart attack, and just a few seconds of pain, and then boom, they're out. You know, my dad had a stroke, barely take care of himself, ended up in a nursing home, don't know how long he lasted. And he had heart attack after heart attack. And you call them all unfiltered. And that, and a combination of working at Tinkins and a steel mill. I used to listen to him with the smoker's cough at night. Just coughing and coughing and coughing. And yeah, I don't mean to be gloomy or nothing, but reality is what reality is. And reality is right now I'm lower than a snake's belly. And I'm not going to probably be able to talk my way out of it or into a smile, maybe. But I'm going to try this not swearing thing. I figure people find that off-putting. I enjoy colorful language and improper grammar and all that stuff, but you know. But yeah, that's the news. I talked to the landlord today, and Stampy Jr. Uh, is supposed to be a temporary resident. Because I said, you do know there's other people living up there, right? They told you about that. She goes, yeah, there's an old woman and a younger child. I'm like, yeah, and they're supposed to be out of here, so it might get a little quieter around here. So that's good news. Really, the knee thing is actually good news, even though I'm too sick to appreciate it right now, because I'm going to get something done at least by March 7th, and I didn't even have my test appointment until April 5th, which means I wouldn't have been able to get anything done until May. So I'm like 2 months ahead of schedule as far as maybe getting some relief. So that's cool. Uh, I don't know. It's just difficult when all the people that you know have got, they can't handle, the emotional support thing. People just don't get it, you know. It's not just the Benzo thing they don't get, but in my case, I got other things going on. And when I talked to somebody briefly about my concerns about this individual that I've been brooding on, they didn't get that either. They just went and talked about the physical side of it, not this side of it. You know, they're like, oh, what'll happen is he'll get sick and he won't be able to fight going to the hospital, or he'll have to go to the emergency room, and they'll fix him up, and it's like, I don't think you know don't understand the same way I understand as far as like you know their insight in that particular individual's personality. And of course, I have to be so ridiculously vague. I don't know why anybody would find any of these videos interesting. I have to be vague about everything because, like I said, all these damn imbalanced people, they're either imbalanced or they're on drugs or both. You know, like I've been uh, trying to like cultivate a friendship with this dude, and now I'm hearing all kind of bad things about him. Now I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, maybe he's been trustworthy with me because the day he met me was Machete Day. I met him about 5 minutes after uh, I was in killer mode, and he saw it on me, and he saw the machete sitting beside me. He wasn't even supposed to be there. Only one person was supposed to show up, but they got a big mouth. Wasn't thinking. And I told him, like, you don't need to be here. You can go sit your ass in the car. You know. And I was still in, like I said, in killer mode. And he was like, okay. Because I didn't know the guy. I didn't know what warrants he had. The cops had not gotten there yet to investigate what happened. And I didn't need him complicating matters. And so, that's when he first met me. So that kind of leaves an impression on the body. And he saw how I looked, and he saw how the people that knew me were around me. And yeah, so I heard some talk about this guy that he's not particularly trustworthy, but he's been square with me so far. And uh, I told him, I was like, I don't know you that well, so first time that you're not true to your word, or I have any issue with you, oh, you're gone. It's like, goodbye. I got enough people to put up with him in my life, but I got a long history with them. But it's difficult when you feel like you're the only person that you can talk to. You know, I got my cop friend, but like to burden him with too much stuff. And I'm not sure. I use the expression "go to the bottom of the well," and I know he won't go to the bottom of the well with me. And I know there's not many people who would, and I don't blame nobody for that. I haven't seen what I've seen and been through what I've been through. Uh, I have one guy that'll do that, like I said in another video, but he's an admitted alcoholic, so I still value that and love the guy, but it is what it is. I mean, when we learned that in group, it's like you got some kind of chemicals running around in your system and you experience emotions. It's not the same as if you're clean and you're expunging yourself of those emotions. And if anybody's had any experience around, um, I'll just use the word drunks, not referring to him. We'll be more polite, I guess, and say alcoholics. They'll apologize and tell you the same old sad story over and over again every time. And it's like, yeah, you can almost repeat the words ahead of time, what they're going to say. And so them expunging themselves of their emotions is meaningless because they're in an altered state of mind. And that's what I learned from the professionals in 1991 in Cleveland Pain Clinic. Yeah, this is rough feeling like this. I mean, I don't know why I just woke up feeling like this. I just did. I don't know why I dozed off. Just woke up at 7:25. We got 11 p.m. I've been chatting for a while. Let's see how long I've been chatting for. I can't even see. About a half an hour. I got one other thing to report, which is I'm going to go ahead and put my confidential therapy, Where the Bodies Are Buried, and the true story of my life, up, censored, because I can't. That disc ain't coming back to me. It might be in a garbage heap somewhere. It might be like in a pile of just rickrack in somebody's house, and what it says on the front of the disc, because it was shortly after, which is sad in itself because it was made in June of 2017. So it was made shortly after my last time I got to go fishing, which is approaching 2 years ago. And it's called Why I Am Not Surprised to Be Hit by My Own Personal Tornado. And it has my life story, not all of it, but an abbreviated version of it. 51 years is a lot of years. A lot of stuff can happen in 51 years. At the time, I was 49, of course. A lot of stuff can happen in 49 years. And, yeah, I've never been the type to just stick in the house all the time until forced into it the last few years. So I've had some adventures, you can call it, some of which I related on here. But yeah, I'm putting that up, and I'm putting it up under another account just so it's up and it's out, and it's like it'll be off my mind then. The problem is the editing process is really tricky because I have to edit out names. I won't edit out events, but I have to edit out names. I mean, hopefully that disc will never turn up anywhere that's floating around in space with the names, but editing out the name, just a name in itself is tricky. But if you think about that, my name's Steve. What if I said, and then Steve pulled a machete on a guy, and then I just have to edit out that Steve part. And if you've ever used YouTube video editor program, and then he pulled, and then what was the sentence? And then Steve, and it would have to be, and then pulled a machete, and you'd have to somebody had to pull a machete. We don't know the guy's name, but pulling out that little less than a second clip, that's not easy. So I've been working on that for a couple of days and put that up and get that out of my mind. It's my life story. I have a right to it, I feel. if I change some of the names, if they want to disown me, they can disown me. I think life's just, when I feel like this, I feel like life's about to disown me. Like God Himself's about to disown me. So, so be it. It wouldn't be the first time. I had, I was one of 7 children, 6 of which have survived, and I only talked to one of them. That should give you an idea right there. Um, the one older brother, I had great love for him when I was a child because he took me fishing, taught me how to. I didn't even know how to use a drag on a fishing reel, but he taught me how to fish properly. Taught me how to box, stuff that maybe my dad should have been teaching me, but didn't. And spent time with me, and um, yeah, he became a very bad alcoholic, and I just don't see him. We ran into each other. Well, when my father died, um, I got like a small, very small insurance claim, inheritance type of thing, and nobody knew how much it was for though. But nobody seemed to want to do anything about it due to the high level of dysfunction in my particular family. It's like it's free freaking money. We don't know how much it is. It could be 20,000, 30,000, 50,000. Who the heck knows how much money it is? You know, so nobody was moving on it. And it's like, there's a time limit on these things. If you don't get moving on them, you still have a right to it, but it's just you're not going to get it for years. And so I took care of that, and I had to get in touch with him, and um, I got his address. Well, I knew where he lived actually, but I had a list of addresses of all my siblings that I never talked to, and I made sure the money got divvied up evenly between all of them. And I was the guy filling out the form, so I could have just took all the money myself, maybe, man. I don't know if I could have got away with that or not, but it never occurred to me to try that. I don't care much about money. And yeah, I had one sister, didn't even bother to thank me for it. Just hand them free money, and they don't even bother to thank me for it. And I don't think my other sister thanked me for it either. She just poo-pooed my efforts and said that, because I said, man, for that little bit of money, I said I wouldn't even put out all that effort prying that out of that insurance company. And she was like, well, blah 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 dollars is blah 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 dollars. And I'm like, yeah, it's easy for you to say. You didn't put out the effort, is what I'm thinking. But I'm around a lot of thoughtless people, and all that, maybe repressing that stuff is bad for me. But there's enough bad blood floating around, anyways. Enough bad blood that I'm on here trying to talk my feelings out on a damn computer half the time to myself. But yeah, I figure it's my life story. I have a right to put it out there, and maybe I have a duty even to put it out there because I have had my heart shot um, 5 times, and I got a bad heart. I got CRPS, which I suppose, I don't know if you got it so much, you got it from here down. Lord knows what you're risking. I just get a bunch of sensations of mostly unpleasant variety that I just have to ignore, and I've learned to ignore over the years, but I've got harder and harder to ignore as the disease has progressed. But that's one thing I can say is like, you know, I've been called a lot of things. Preachy is one of them, but I'm not no preacher. But I will tell you this: if you live a clean life with a clean conscience, you can put up with a whole hell of a lot more when you're walking hand in hand with Mr. Dead all the time. that sleep or whatever that next level is, it don't hold no terror for you. Living, dealing with family, dealing with the broken body, death don't hold no terror for me. I got my exit strategy in place in case this disease gets too worse. I don't know what my cutoff line for that would be, but I'm not really good at being at the mercy of other people, having grown up at the mercy of a deeply disturbed individual. Uh, so my cutoff line might be a wheelchair, but yeah, I got an exit strategy, and it's not. It's just logic. It's not suicidal ideation. Because if I don't know if people understand CRPS or how bad it is, or I don't go into detail about the various horrors I have to live with, but having it from here down, and like when I had my EMG test, they told me, surprise, surprise, there's some spinal involvement because they stuck a needle in like my hip or something like that and ran some electricity through it, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's probably the CRPS. Um, and so they were talking about well, if there's the nerve damage in your right leg, we can't do much about. It's either sometimes it heals up on its own, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, but when I think back to, um, it's hard for me not to be angry when I think back to the emotional support that I've given to family members over the years and what I've gotten back. It's really, really difficult. Sometimes I let them have it, sometimes I don't, because I know they're not well people. Um, Sometimes I just let it slide. No one can really go through this kind of stuff alone, I don't think. Um, Even mountain men had to go into town once in a while to go into a saloon and find themselves a lady of the evening, some sort of human comfort or contact. So yeah, it's just the whole idea of like uh, not being able to trust all these people, and I got good reason not to trust them. All the people that you're closest to and the people that you're staying alive for. And you know they don't have your back emotionally. You already know it because they're not well people, and you know it is what it is. I mean, you grow up hard, and you just something about growing up hard where the survival instincts become an imperative. Certain amount of empathy, sympathy, soft heartedness, or whatever doesn't develop. And why am I different? I don't know if I'm all that different. I can be as hard as can be. Um, but I think mainly it's just because I didn't have to grow up because I got that spinal tumor. So I got to, I was removed. I didn't have to deal with um, the various struggles and challenges of life and whatnot. I was just removed from it and set apart from it. I had to deal with most things that people would find terrifying, like alienation, um, loneliness, um, severe illness, and things like that. I did pretty good not swearing so far. I think I've accomplished it. I'm not sure, but yeah, yeah. Hopefully, I can wake up and feel a little better than this because it is hard enough having to go through these things, having to go through them alone, knowing knowing that these people don't. they're limited. I mean, it's not like they don't have your back. It's just they're limited in what they can do. You know, you can't. I'm not speaking at the mic. You can't ask somebody to give what they don't have, which is one of the few things my psychiatrist ever said to me that I made the disc for. It's like you can't ask for people for something that they don't have to give. That made sense. The only other thing that she said that made sense that I didn't already know was like you can go to different people and get your needs met in different ways. Like you need emotional support, you can talk to this guy. You need a ride somewhere, you can talk to this guy. You need a couple dollars, you don't, you just because you don't have that one guy that's 100% on your side, doesn't mean you can't get your needs met from a group of dysfunctional people. Hmm. Let's see what this looks like. I wonder how red my chest got. Oh, not too bad. Wasn't burning myself too bad. Put that back on there. It's not a very hot heating pad, apparently. At least not tonight. I feel like, I know I don't have a fever, so it's what a gentleman, I suppose I can say his name, he wouldn't mind, a gentleman named Mason referred to as the Benzo flu. And whatever it is, it ain't a whole lot of fun right now. Um, well, let's see how long we got here. How am I going to make y'all forget about the time and pass the time if I can't forget about it myself? Hmm? Isn't that the purpose that this is supposed to serve for people? Be engrossed in somebody's emotional struggles and then like lose track of the time and be distracted from their own. Isn't that like the purpose of this? Either that or my droning voice, which puts me to sleep, frankly. Uh, I got my baseball subscription now, so baseball, I end up sleeping to baseball. But like I said, I fell asleep today checking a video that I had made earlier before I got bad like this, you know. And it's just basically reporting the same main things. Stampy Jr. may be a thing of the past, and may only have the major Stamposaurus up there. And 7th, they're going to drain my knee and shoot it full of cortisone. March 7th, this coming Thursday, and I'm putting up my life story, Hell or High Water, just under another account. And, you know, adding out some names, which has proven to be tricky. And, yeah, I'm not a computer guy, so I don't know if I can, like, edit under this other account and then post under a different account. So I don't know if, like, I'm going to wake up in the morning and, like a turkey being basted in the oven, if my video editing process, because it says processing and grays out the screen, if it's not done, I'm going to scrap it and start over. And I'm just going to feed the turkey to the dogs and start over again. And this time I'll just use one computer for that alone, and maybe, another computer, but it's still, Google ties everything together, so I don't know. Maybe I'll stay off of the computer for a while, and or stay on that account, just that one account. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that editing that's a pain in the butt, because even though people don't, um, people actually say some nice things in there about them, and I took their names out anyway, uh, except for the person that I gave the disc to. Couldn't help but leave their name in. I have to get some revenge for this, and it's not like anybody's going to track. There's, I think I skipped that part too, but there's maybe, who knows? Who knows with the internet, man? I don't know about the internet. Like I said, when I When I went to school, they didn't have computers in school. You know, people didn't have a home computer, and I'm not sure when everybody started having a home computer, but I know that the first one that I bought new was 1998, and I probably came to the game late, so maybe it was like in the early 90s that people started, um, just like your average everyday folk, started saying, "Oh, this internet thing's pretty cool. I don't have to go to the porno store no more and sneak in through the back wing doors in the back of the video store." And look at that, you can do all this shopping on here, and you can do all this other stuff. But yeah, it's interesting that people deny the impact of pornography, but not just on the internet, but just on the human race in general, because it goes back to cave paintings and stuff. And I watched this show that was like it actually drove technology. I think Thomas Alva Edison, the guy supposedly responsible for you being able to see me right now, um, made a skin flick himself. But that might be apocryphal and untrue, but I believe it is true within my adult state of mind. Feeling like I'm feeling, I could be wrong, but yeah, technology. It's always like yeah, it's like pornography is always like because a sex drive is like you got your two drives, your basic two drives, and that's survival, and the secondary one is your sex drive to which gets it's of course to procreate, but really it gets diverted in other ways with human beings. Um, so, anyways, this maybe I'll post that anybody that's interested in that. But it's kind of fascinating. Like it goes through the entire history of like pornography. One of the more fascinating segments of that is um, before they had printing presses and stuff. I mean, books were super expensive, and only rich people could afford it. So they would like you're not going to believe this, but they would like have hymnals, but they would have little tiny dirty pictures like drawn in the outside edges of the hymnals. If you used a magnifying glass, you could see some stuff. So maybe I'll just put that part up for you since you might not believe that. But anyways, um, that's just the kind of thing that I find interesting. Is the way that that's always been like it only makes sense though. I think it makes sense the way I explained it. Yeah, this is. I guess this is like a flashback, maybe. Maybe I should turn the heat down. This is like a flashback to months ago. I haven't had it felt like this in a good while. Boy, I ain't missed it. And pills I took don't seem to be doing shit. Hopefully, I'm not getting sick and I don't have to go through yet another appointment where I'm got a cold or some kind of sickness or just don't feel good. Especially when it's going to involve an invasive procedure with me flipping over on my sensitive stomach, most likely, and getting a horse needle stuck in my knee. But it is what it is if I want to survive, which I'm kind of ambivalent about. But I got some things I want to do, and I got love for a couple of people that I hang around for. I think there's a lot of people that could do without me just fine, but there's maybe like 3 or 4 people that would miss me. I mean, I'm not talking. I mean, excluding all you internet followers. Yeah, our long 11 months history together. It's not that it hasn't been meaningful, but you're talking about brothers and sisters and friends of 30 years that you've struggled and fought and gone through things with. But it's not that you're not going through something with me now because I've been going through this. I've been public about it because something has to change with this stuff. I mean, I don't see myself ever. I'm just so off-putting, I think, in general, that I don't see uh, um, any particular protracted benefit from me doing this, other than my own personal satisfaction of like, this is what this shit does to you. You know, this is what it can do to you. Even at these supposed low doses, don't let your doctor give you this, and don't take it for more than 2 or 3 weeks at a time. If you do, you're crazy. I wouldn't even take it for more than 2 weeks at a time, because you're risking turning your whole life upside down. I mean, it actually ruined. Uh, well, that me actually is what ruined the relationship that I had. One of the relationships that I had is because that's what broke me. Is the idea of not being able to take care of myself and being in a wheelchair and being in that kind of pain all the time. Yeah, I just broke like Cool Hand Luke, man. I just broke, and I picked the wrong shoulder to cry on. That's all. Um, so that at the time though, I was taking, I don't know, I was taking uh, at least a milligram of Xanax a day because I was going through it. And then I've already told all that stuff before, but it wasn't too long before I was in Altman psychiatric wing, admitting myself, telling a bunch of lies just to get admitted, so I wouldn't have to go through withdrawal. Because when that thing happened 2 days after Christmas, I just went off the rails because that was one of my most trusted people in the world, and they just weren't there. You know, that's the person that I picked to whose shoulder to cry upon. I mean, I I don't know if you can call that a betrayal or not, but yeah, boy, it's no wonder I got a depressing dude, aren't I? It's just a lot of bad stuff. When if you ever run across my uh, actual therapy disc life story, you'll be like, you know what, this guy's actually a pretty cheerful dude. But yeah, it's just I'm just hoping I can sleep, and I'll drink a lot of water tonight. Maybe that'll help, or maybe it'll make me get up in the middle of the night stone, because that's what's going to happen when the gabapentin mixes with the Valium. Is, I can't find my cane anywhere, which is freaking stupid. I mean, the first thing I did this morning was, oh, where's my cane? And then I couldn't find it, and I grabbed a cup of tea from the other night and spilled it on my bed. That's how I started my day out. And then I sat there calling my bank, tracking down all my transactions and all the things I bought, matching them all off and checking them all off, and trying to figure out if somebody actually did have my information, or I was just lost my marbles a little bit in the month of February. Which I think I did lose my marbles a bit in the month of February and just got a little out of hand. I just got uh, just so bored that I was just internet shopping and in a self-destructive sort of way, which blowing all your money. Yeah, I can recoup this. I just bought a bunch of football cards. I can recoup that stuff and maybe even make, well, a lot of it I will make a profit on, but a lot of it I'll break even on. Um, just because I kind of know what I'm doing as far as that stuff. But a lot of the purchases I made were stupid. So they were like break even or lose money because, whatever vehicle you use to sell over the computer, it takes a cut. Use PayPal, PayPal takes a cut and a pretty healthy bite too. So you buy something for 40 and you sell it for 40, you're not breaking even, you're taking a loss. So you have to buy something like for 20 and then sell it for 40, and then maybe you make $10. And you do that like, the way I used to do it is I always just piled up ad after ad after ad and just do it all at once and ship them all at once. And I could make some pretty good money that way. Mm, yeah. I sure wish I could talk more freely, but can't. Yeah, it's like, yeah, if we was in a bar, my friend, and you bought me a beer, you could happily hear my story. It's just that's just nonsense. I don't even like alcohol. But if we were just sitting there talking, one on one, or just in a therapy group or something like that, but any yahoo can click on this, and so you have to protect people, not use names, and keep information scanned, and it's just the nature of the beast. But as far as my life story, I feel like I have a right to that because it's mine. I had to live it. I had to live that hell, and it's mine. I have a right to put it on. I'm going to put it on in such a way that, I'm not even sure that my family watches these videos, even though I've sent them pieces of these videos, like during the machete incident, to kind of let them know what's going on with me. But I doubt they're big followers of mine. I just doubt it. And they certainly don't contact me on a regular basis, except for, I would say two of them. Uh, Man, that head don't feel too good. So, but anyways, I'm going to put it on in such a way that it's on, it'll stay on, and it will just be there. Somebody will stumble upon it and be like, holy crap, this is some unlucky dude. And I moved, it's funny, I moved to this city, and I moved close to these people. So I was like, well, I'll have family in this area. And I bought a boat, thinking I would be going fishing. Never been on the boat. Uh, a relation accidentally introduced me to Xanax, and you know how well that went. And yeah, it's been nothing but rocks and stones and briars on this path. And I moved here voluntarily. It's like, the, I don't know if I already said this, but the best time, when I was doing the best, I was living in a real slummy apartment. And give you an idea of how slummy, try like 1993, 255 a month, everything included. But it was my own space. So, hey, Emily Dickinson. Rather sit on that pumpkin and have it all to myself than be crowded on a velvet cushion. So, but yeah, it was a real slummy place. It was next to a factory. And yeah, there was a bunch of drunks living in the building. You know, I ain't gonna say nothing against low income people, because there's plenty of high income people that are worthless pieces of crap, and there's plenty of low income people that are like that too. But my experience living in poor neighborhoods, I never lived in a richer neighborhood. I think the richer people just keep their nastiness to themselves, and they have money to occupy themselves otherwise than getting in your business. Mm, this is rough, man. But I have to be fair. I have to show you I have to show you when things are bad, and when things are good, and when I'm feeling pretty good. And I don't know what this is about. It feels like a cold or the flu or something, but I'll take my temperature again when I'm off of here. But it was, I don't have a fever according to a working thermometer, which I know works. So I got the shakes and goose pimples and a heating pad on my chest that don't even have a pad on it, and I still can't seem to get my core body temperature up. Yeah. Mm. I don't know. Sometimes you look back at your life when you get older and you're like, where exactly did everything go wrong, or what could I have done different, or was it always like destined to be this way? And I understand that some of what happened to me was just destiny, is it was just already in the cards. I mean, if you that tumor, for instance, that was growing in my spine, that was already that was already a genetically in place when I was born. That's just was already ready to go, because Lord knows how long that was growing inside me. I had my first symptoms when I was 14, so that was good to go. So I knew I was going to have that problem. I was born to a uh, father who did his best, but in the end, uh, the bad outweighed the good. I'm not going to say he didn't try, compared to his brothers who didn't keep their children fed, and yeah, treated them much worse. I remember, I don't know, yeah, I remember one guy telling me a story. He was like, he had, back in the day, they could paddle you in school. And I was talking to this older fellow that was older than me, that was driving me home from my appointment. He was like, yeah, there was a guy that even paddled a girl. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of freaky. He goes, yeah, I don't think you were supposed to do that even back then. So when you didn't paddle girls when I went to school in the 80s, but if you were a dude, you get paddled. And this guy is about a year older than me, and he used to have a teacher that his goal was to he didn't feel like he did his job paddling the kid unless he made him cry. So, you know, he just kind of gave up on this relation of mine. And he said, why don't you ever cry? Name withheld. And name withheld said, listen, if I don't cry for my father, I'm not gonna cry for you. So, yeah, it's just crazy. It's just so crazy to think that, I knew that about my dad, though, that he tried for a long time, starting to get a little tremor there or something. And this goose flesh thing that's just weird. I guess the heater goes back up. I took I think ibuprofen earlier in the day. Maybe I can risk some aspirin or something. I don't know. I've often wondered about that with fevers. The whole purpose of a fever is to burn out whatever bacteria or virus is ailing you, and then they want you to keep the fever down. So I'm like, isn't that like counterproductive? Shouldn't be like, isn't that your body's natural defense to like burn something out? But I probably don't even have a fever. It's probably like a nervous thing. I made all the arrangements today, and I'm all set up for my appointment. And it's not going to be a big deal. I just woke up feeling sick, and I'm still sticking with my maximum dose of 10 milligrams volume. Usually twice a day, sometimes once a day, sometimes 3 times a day if I have an appointment the next day. That was funny. The one my appointment was on the 26th for the doctor, and I took I think 4 doses of it the day before, and then the day of the appointment I just took one. Then the next day I took two. The next day I took two. The next day I took one. It's kind of like that. And it's kind of like take it as needed, which probably maybe isn't smart. I don't know. I keep turning my head away from the microphone. Man, this is fucking weird. Yeah, I hope this is the benzo flu actually, because if it's the other kind, any other kind of illness, I gotta get that done on the 7th so I can walk. I mean, I lay in bed in the mornings just dreading that first step onto the floor. That leg hurts so bad. And I don't have the highest pain tolerance in the world, but CRPS will teach you a thing or two about pain. My brother's pain tolerance is a colossus compared to mine. Hell, my dad pulled out his own tooth. I don't know if I ever told you that before, but I probably did. But he pulled out his own tooth, so I've been, and my brother cut his thumb so bad, he cut the bad place too, man. He cut the webbing right here, opening a can of corn when we were fishing for carp because forgot the can opener, so he's using a knife, and I was like, holy crap, I need stitches or something like that. All he did was Bonanza or Gunsmoke it up and cut off a rag off of, or cut off a piece of his coat and wrapped it up like a bandage, and we fished. I was like, man, we should go home. And we didn't know. He just bandaged it up like it was nothing. So I'm a piker as far as my family is concerned when it comes to pain tolerance. The thing about my dad pulling out his own tooth is I didn't hear him do it. There was no screaming or yelling or nothing like that. He just come out of the bathroom and he had a rag and he said, you know, teeth have long roots on it. And he showed me it. He pulled out his own tooth. I don't remember how old he was or why he did it. If he was afraid of dentists or wanted to save money or we were broke at the time, I don't know. Gives me the willies thinking about. Whatever this is, I hope it passes and feel better in the morning. Thing of it is, I slept in the afternoon from like 5, not in the afternoon, but from like 5 until 7:30 when that dude called. So sleeping might not be all that easy, especially in this condition. Which, got, what do you call it? Chills, I guess, when you shake like that. It's not the akathisia. I don't think I'll be getting. I don't think I'm getting that because I would have had that by now. I'm not. I'm on. Yeah, I had 2 doses of Valium today, and I've never had it before. Why would I get it now? I don't feel restless. I just feel cold and chilled. Yeah. Being alone and sick, man, that's a tough thing. Being alone is a tough gig in general. If I had somebody I could call or I could trust to be like um, understanding and patient with me, the way I am understanding and patient with myself when I'm on here doing my this video has to be over an hour now. Um, but yeah, I guess you gotta be your own best friend sometimes. There ain't nothing. There ain't nothing so bad to me as when you're going through something bad to be just dismissed, hustled off the phone, or outright criticized and derided and being accused of playing the martyr and stuff. It's like, are you don't hear somebody cry for 29 years, you're going to accuse them of playing a martyr? Somebody who's had a pain, you're just not, you're just dealing with a not well person. But, like I've said a billion times, if a not well person runs over your foot and an emotionally healthy person runs over your foot, the result is pretty much the same. Uh, I guess I should just be thankful anytime I don't have heart things going on. I guess I should just be thankful for it. Yeah, I'm hanging in there for hopefully getting my knee fixed and hopefully getting to be able to walk around and stuff. But I don't really got no quality of life. I can't do the things I want to do. It's funny. I try so hard. It's like I was communicating with this dude today, and like this, I've known these people for years, and we never played guitar together. And he lives like right down the road. And I'm talking by years. I mean like, oh, I don't know, all my life, damn near. We all play guitar, but we don't play music together for whatever reason. I don't know. I've tried for years to get him to play music, get us to play music together. It's never worked. So I was talking about like, well, I found this device that I'm talking to him about guitar and music and composing, and he's like, yeah, I like composing stuff too. And then they have like a product that I was looking at that has mixed reviews on that prints up the notes in notation and tablature as you play it on a guitar, which is just a fascinating notion. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm not feeling so good these days, so I might need a product tester. But I was thinking about buying this. Just trying to plan for some kind of future. You know, just trying to convince myself that this is just something that I have to look past, leg and all, and then I can get back to where I was on the Joe Johnson account in 2013, where I could actually walk pretty good distance and could lift weights and was in shape and whatnot. And maybe just a dream or whatever, but it's kind of funny. Like I said before, I was known as a quitter my whole life. I have every reason to quit now, but that social responsibility thing is a powerful thing. That's like why my favorite episode. Like I like westerns, and they never made any better at the westerns than the 50s and 60s Gunsmokes before the hippie generation mellowed Matt Dillon out and made him into soften the show up a bit before the Festus guy came on there and was acting like a clown and whatnot. That show was like super hardcore. And my favorite episode, I think, is from the second season, but it's called Bloody Hands. And he's just tired and fed up with killing, so he quits his job. And then the uh, deputy guy comes, or I don't think he's a deputy, but the Chester guy comes back and brings him his gun, and he's just, chilling, having a good time, sitting there with Miss Kitty, if you're familiar with Gunsmoke. And he's like, I come for you, because he's like, you don't, he's like, he's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have anything to do with that. I killed my last man. He said, you don't understand. Somebody shot this woman last night, and you're the only guy that can do it, and it's acting in about 30 seconds. It's like the best acting I've seen probably in a TV series from Dennis Weaver, where he's explaining to him like, you have a social responsibility to because he's like, I would take care of it myself, but I'm not good enough. Not many men are, but you are. Maybe that's too bad for you, but that's just the way it is. It's just too late. That's who you are, you know. So now that I guess, given up being a quitter, it's too late for me too. But yeah, this kind of thing will put you in a mood. Feeling like this out of the blue, and then uh, I'm carrying around more baggage than a 747 emotionally. Just a lot of stuff, and I ask myself in my therapy tape, I was like, is there anything that could make all that worthwhile, all that suffering worthwhile? It's like, I don't know that there is. I don't really even believe that there is. Man, my stomach is. I'm starting to get into some emotional stuff, or yeah, that or my stomach's just hating on me. But my stomach's starting to hate me for digging into this deeper stuff, and me not being a crying man, not expressing myself in that manner, preferring to do it verbally, to preferring to articulate my despair verbally. Um, yeah, crying is probably healthier, but it makes me sick. I think I'm just making myself sick right now because they're trying to find a silver lining to this. But the silver lining is it's just maybe I'll go to sleep. Maybe I wake up tomorrow and say, hey, I feel completely different than I did yesterday. That was some kind of benzo flu thing, and you know, uh, I got the aches and pains and stuff just like I had like I don't know, maybe on the 23rd of last month when I had 101 fever. I don't know that I have a fever. I just know that I'm chilled and can't get warm and got a little tremors and stuff. But I'm doing my job, which is leaving a record for anybody who gives a damn about what this stuff does. But people know what alcohol does to people. They end up with a problem with it. And that's actually a GABA drug. You know, they like to say drink. They like to make that separation. But anything that alters your freaking mind, alters your. But that's a GABA thing too. That's why um, alcohol and benzos are the only two withdrawals that can kill otherwise healthy people. That's why you don't cold turkey. You don't really want to cold turkey off it. That's what my. I don't think he'll have mind me saying this. He's pretty proud of it. He done told me about it a million times. But my brother-in-law was a bad alcoholic for a few years, and he just figured that he tried everything, and he's like, I just have to stop. And if it kills me, it kills me. So he stopped, and yeah, he went out of his head, and you know, he thought he was gonna die from it. So, even though that people know uh, how bad this is, I think, it's like the forbidden fruit, maybe. you know, Maybe that makes it more interesting. I told my neighbor, it's like, yeah, I'm having all this trouble getting off his Xanax, and he's like, before the conversation was over, he's like, can I try a couple of those? The dude's already in a wheelchair, and he's already taking Valium, and I said, yeah, two. And I gave him two. I said, I won't sell you any, so don't ask me for any more, but here you can have two to try. And he never commented about it one way or another. He smokes the heavy skunk, man. I went out in the hallway to get the mail today. Got My nose got besieged with that heavy duty skunk weed. But oh man, no, there's no bow to put on this. This is just, yeah, it's just, hopefully this is some kind of weird benzo relapse thing that happens to people from time to time, and it's not some sickness or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna put this up and just skip the other one that I did before I was sick, because the other one I did has the same information in it, but it doesn't show uh, the what I like to call the true face of the benzodiazepine crisis we have in the world, which this is the face. It's not a happy face. I don't know if I smiled during this whole thing, though I probably said something to amuse myself. I usually am pretty good at amusing my own self. Anyways, but yeah, I'm gonna get off here and I'll post this. Instead, maybe think about some aspirin or some ibuprofen for my head. I don't know. Hope that my heart behaves itself. I don't end up in no damn hospital sooner than March 7th, when I'm just going to get my knee poked, get that procedure done. I'm not even that nervous or scared about that. I mean, that ain't no big deal. It's just, this is unrelated to that. Uh, this just is what it is. I mean, whatever's going on with me. I'll write in the comments maybe in a couple of days whether this was a benzo flu episode or I actually got sick or whatever. But, I get tired of myself and hearing myself talk sometimes. So, if you get tired of your own self, chances are other people are tired of you too. That's my theory on it anyways. Let me put my glasses on. My hateful, hateful glasses so I can, it was already ready to go. So anyways, today I definitely hope you're feeling better than I do. And just remember, tomorrow's another day. That's what I'm telling myself right now. Things may change. This is the nature of the beast. Is one day you're in the bottom of the well, the next day you're sitting on the rim sipping some water. And I'll talk to you down the road somewhere.